This guy says that system is rigged, that unless you have wealthy parents, you are screwed.
The reality is, and maybe Dan won't like this, maybe you won't like this, I think it is very, very difficult for a young man or a young woman from a poor family to become rich. And I think it's increasingly hard even to just get those basics of financial security.
It's a powerful message. It's also one of the most dangerous things that you can believe. Because if I had listened to Gary Stevenson 5 years ago, I wouldn't have tried, I wouldn't have built. I'd still be broke, waiting for the collapse that he promised. But instead, I ignored that advice and built something from nothing.
I'm somebody who has made millions of pounds betting on the collapse of society, the collapse of the middle class. If you don't protect your society is going to collapse.
In a world filled with fake gurus and economic optimism, Gary Stevenson felt like the realest voice in the room. Former trader who won millions betting against the economy. Smart, articulate, anti-establishment.
So imagine you're Rishi Sunak now and you're making £500,000 passive income a week. How much are you going to spend?
Not a lot of it.
You spend, 50 grand a week, live like the Queen, basically. Yeah, I couldn't spend 50 grand a week if I tried, right? So the problem is, once you have this group of society with very large passive income, unless you have a rapidly growing economy, they basically have nothing they can do with that income other than buy up the rest of the asset.
And when the world started crumbling in 2020, Gary's message went viral. He became the voice for a generation who felt abandoned by the system. People didn't just hear Gary, they felt him. He gave the frustration a face, the hopelessness a logic. But that's where the problem begins.
There's basically one really, really good method for getting rich in today's society. It's almost foolproof. Have a rich dad. If you failed that one, try again.
Gary's message isn't just a breakdown of the system. It's a blueprint for giving up. He doesn't just say it's hard. He says it's pointless, that no matter what you do, you won't get ahead.
Work hard, study hard, try to get a good job, but also understand we are shrinking the seats on the lifeboat. That's what we're doing. We used to allow 50% to be secure, then it's 40%, then it's 30%, then it's 20%. You've got family in Nigeria. If a young person from Shantytown in Nigeria came to you and said, Stephen, what could I do to get rich? You would have to say to him realistically, listen, you are in a difficult situation here.
And to someone who is struggling, that might sound comforting, but in reality, it's a poison disguised as wisdom.
I guess we've sorted it then. All of our viewers need to do is go and buy Dan's book, become an entrepreneur and become a millionaire. It's that easy. Why weren't you guys doing it to begin with? They're idiots. The viewers are idiots. They should be just being more entrepreneurial. I come from East London, okay? My friends can't feed their kids, okay? And if it was as simple as going out and being an entrepreneur, I can bet you they would do it. I can bet you they would do it. I'm sick of multimillionaires telling kids who can't afford to turn the heating on, you just need to be more entrepreneurial. It's sick, Dan. It's sick.
Let's be clear. The game is unfair. The odds are against you, but it doesn't mean you stop playing. In fact, that's exactly when you lean in and find the leverage that does work. I grew up in a poor country in Eastern Europe. No college degree, no connections, no rich dad. I started out selling services on Fiverr for pocket change, cold emails, side hustles, freelance gigs, anything to get moving. Eventually, I built real skills such as web design, video editing, copywriting. I packaged those skills into content into digital products, and those products turned into income streams. Today, I've built an online business which generated me over $500,000 online with no team, no investors, just repetition, leverage, and refusal to quit. I'm not saying that to flex, but I'm saying it because if I had followed Gary's worldview, I never would have tried. That's what makes this kind of messaging so dangerous.
He said, can I ask you one question? I said, yeah, go on. He said, how do I get rich? I said to him, ask another question. Because the truth is, this is the one thing which it is almost impossible to safely do as a young person nowadays.
Gary says the rich keep getting richer.
But you will never be able to jump up to the level of somebody whose parents are richer. So that's what it is. So at the same time, especially if you're poor, you do have to work really hard and you do have to try and study the right subjects. You do have to try and get the right job because increasingly poor people are put in this situation where otherwise you'll become homeless and completely impoverished.
He's right, but his mistake is thinking that the game can't be played by anyone else. And the truth is that internet didn't just make wealth inequality worse. It also made leverage more available than at any time in history. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to raise capital. You don't need to know the right people. You need a small personal brand, a scalable product, a way to reach the world, and the discipline to show up consistently. And if that sounds like too much, then you've been trained to underestimate your own potential.
It's never been easier to learn skills for free on YouTube. It's never been easier to join communities where you can get mentoring and get support. There are communities of angel investors who do invest in startups. It's never been cheaper or easier to start a company. There's never been more software and technology to scale and grow.
The truth is, there are two ways to see the world. Everyone is my competition, or everyone is my potential customer. If you pick number one, you'll play scared. You'll wait, you'll complain. If you pick the second, you'll build. You'll stop asking for permission. You'll turn your knowledge, your story, or your skill into value and get paid. People think entrepreneurship means the next Uber or Facebook, and that's false. That's a lie. You don't need 100 employees. You only need one product, one offer, one system, and that's it. Gary's message might make you feel smart, but it also make you stagnant.
And I want every single young person in this country to be able to make money if they want to, if that's what they want to work towards. But we've created a society where it's almost impossible for young... Listen, I've been there. I've been at LSE. I've been at Oxford. I've been in the city. I've been in the media. I've been in politics. All of the guys at the top are a bunch of rich idiots. We are not allowing these smart kids from ordinary backgrounds to get into those spaces. Why do we pretend we're not doing that? We know we're doing that.
I disagree with that.
It's an intellectual doom scrolling. You feel informed, but you're not empowered. What people actually need is direction, not just critique of the system, but a strategy for escaping it. Because if you tell a 19-year-old kid, don't even try, the rich have already won, you don't sound wise. You sound like a gatekeeper.
Basically, nobody not from a rich background becomes a trader nowadays. It's almost impossible to get that job.
And the truth is that the right vehicle plus the right mindset changes everything. Maybe you won't be a billionaire. Well, most likely you won't. But you can absolutely buy back your freedom. And that's what this game is really about. Here's what I tell the same 90-year-old kid. Learn a skill that the market values. Build a digital product, service, or a channel around that skill. Use the internet to scale it. Use the cash flow to buy back your time and, maybe invest it wisely. Will this be easy? No. Will it take time? Yes. Will it be worth it? Always. Gary made his millions by understanding the game and betting against it. But here's the kicker. You can make yours by understanding it too and building something better. If this video made you think differently, share if it's someone who needs to hear it. Maybe if it's someone who thinks that they have no way to escape the system, but they actually do if they just put their head down. This channel is not about fear, it's about freedom. And that starts by refusing to be a spectator. Even if the game is rigged, you can still play it and get your piece of the pie.